The hallway at Lincoln High was alive with the usual chaos. Lockers slamming, sneakers squeaking against the tiles, and chatter echoing through the corridor. But in the middle of it all, something happened that would soon spread across every phone in the school. Derek Mason, the star quarterback known for his swagger and short temper, marched straight toward a quiet girl standing by the lockers. Her name was Maya Lewis, a soft-spoken black girl with a reputation for being smart, reserved, and almost invisible to most of her classmates. She carried her books like armor, her head slightly bowed as if she wanted to blend into the walls, but Derek wouldn't let her. He raised his voice so loud the entire hall froze. "You think you belong here? You're nothing but a nobody, Maya. Nobody cares about some quiet little black girl hiding behind her books." The words cracked through the silence like a whip. Students gasped. Some covered their mouths, others started recording on their phones. Derek's friends in varsity jackets snickered, shoving each other like they were watching a comedy show. Derek leaned closer, his shadow falling across Maya's face. His voice roared again, harsher this time. "Look at me when I'm talking to you. Answer me before I make you regret ever walking into this school." The entire hallway fell still. The air was heavy, thick with tension. All eyes turned to Maya, some expecting her to cry, others waiting for her to shrink away. But what she did next stunned the whole school. Before we go deeper into this unbelievable story, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from right now, and what time is it there? Drop it in the comments below. I love seeing our community come together from different corners of the world. And if you're enjoying stories like this, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Thank you. It means the world to me. Maya Lewis was unlike most students at Lincoln High. She never craved attention. She walked to school each morning with a stack of books pressed tightly against her chest, her footsteps soft, her gaze often fixed on the ground. She wasn't shy, exactly. She just carried herself with a quiet dignity that set her apart. Her intelligence was undeniable. Teachers praised her essays, her math scores, and her ability to stay calm even in stressful situations. But she never bragged. She never competed for the spotlight. And for most of the student body, that made her easy to ignore, except for Derek Mason. Derek thrived on being the center of attention. His red and white varsity jacket was a symbol of his dominance at Lincoln High. He lived for the cheers at football games, the adoration of younger students, and the fear in the eyes of those he pushed around. But Maya's silence, it wasn't fear. And that enraged him more than anything. He started small, knocking her books to the floor, mocking her quiet voice in the cafeteria, nudging her shoulder as he walked past. Maya never retaliated. She simply picked up her belongings and kept walking. To Derek, that was worse than a fight. Worse than tears. Her refusal to react chipped at his ego day after day. And so, on this Monday morning, in front of a crowded hallway, he decided he'd break her silence once and for all. He thought his shouting would terrify her. He thought his insults would reduce her to nothing. But he had no idea. Maya Lewis was about to respond in a way that no one, not even Derek himself, could have predicted. Derek Mason's voice thundered through the hallway, bouncing off the metal lockers like a war drum. His words weren't just loud, they were sharp, cutting, designed to humiliate. Every student within earshot froze, their conversations dying mid-sentence as the sound of his rage filled the air. Phones were already out. Screens glowed as dozens of hands lifted to record. At Lincoln High, nothing spread faster than humiliation, and Derek's temper was entertainment. His friends grinned, waiting for Maya to crumble, but she didn't. Instead, Maya stood still, clutching her books tightly, her breathing calm. She looked up at Derek, not with anger, not with fear, but with something entirely different. Composure. Her steady gaze only seemed to inflame him more. "Why don't you say something?" Derek barked, jabbing his finger toward her. "Go on, quiet girl. Squeak something out." A few students chuckled, but their laughter was nervous, not joyful. Something about the scene felt different this time. Maya's silence wasn't weakness. It was power. And then she spoke. Her voice wasn't loud, but it sliced through the tension like a blade. "Why do you need me to be afraid of you?" The hallway fell into stunned silence. The words were simple, but the impact was explosive. Derek blinked, caught off guard, his rehearsed cruelty faltering. His friends exchanged glances, unsure whether to laugh or stay quiet. Students whispered in the background, "Did you hear that?" She talked back. Derek tried to recover, forcing a laugh. "Afraid? Don't flatter yourself, Maya. Nobody even notices you." But Maya tilted her head slightly, her voice calm, unwavering. "If nobody notices me, then why are you shouting in my face?" The crowd erupted in murmurs. The quiet girl had just flipped the script. By now, the tension in the hallway was so thick that even the teachers hovering at the edges hesitated to step in. Derek Mason was the golden boy of Lincoln High, the star athlete, the one who brought trophies, the one teachers overlooked when he crossed the line. But today, even they sensed something was unraveling. Derek slammed his palm against the locker beside Maya's head, the metal clanging like a gunshot. Students jumped at the sound and a few gasped. His face was red, his voice dripping with venom. "You better watch yourself," he growled. "I could end you with one word," but Maya didn't flinch. She adjusted the stack of books in her arms as if his display meant nothing. Her voice came steady, almost soft. "Is this what makes you feel strong, Derek? Yelling at someone holding books?" The words sliced through the air. A ripple moved through the crowd, gasps, whispers, even a nervous laugh from someone in the back. Derek's teammates shifted uneasily, their earlier smirks fading. Derek blinked, caught off guard. No one ever spoke to him like that. Certainly not someone like Maya. He leaned closer, lowering his voice, but the venom remained. "Don't play smart with me. You think you're better than us? You think being quiet makes you special?" Maya held his gaze calm and unwavering. "No, I don't think I'm better than anyone. But I'm not beneath you either." Those words hit harder than a slap. The hallway seemed to inhale all at once. Students looked from Maya to Derek, waiting to see his reaction. His power, the fear he thrived on, was slipping. And then Maya added, almost like a whisper meant only for him, "I don't hate you, Derek. I pity you." The crowd froze. Derek's mouth opened, but nothing came out. For the first time, the king of Lincoln High looked powerless. Derek Mason's laughter rang out, but it was hollow, forced, nothing like the arrogant chuckle he usually wore. He straightened his jacket, trying to mask the fact that his hands were trembling slightly. "You pity me?" he scoffed, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Don't act like you're some kind of saint. You're a nobody, Maya. A nobody." But the words didn't land the way he wanted them to. Instead of laughter or cheers, the crowd stayed quiet, their faces shifting. They weren't looking at Maya with mockery. They were looking at Derek. And for the first time, they weren't impressed. Maya didn't gloat. She didn't smirk. She simply stepped back an inch, still clutching her books, her voice calm and measured. "You confuse fear with respect," she said, her tone carrying through the hallway. "But fear doesn't last. The moment people stop being afraid of you, you have nothing." The reaction was immediate. Students murmured, nodding, their phones trembling as they tried to record every second. Someone whispered, "She's right." Another added, "Finally, someone said it." One brave voice from the crowd broke through. "Leave her alone, Derek." It wasn't loud, but it was enough. Another voice joined. "Yeah, this is messed up, man." Derek spun around, his face twisting. The foundation of his dominance had always been silence, people too afraid to challenge him. But now the silence was gone. The crowd wasn't laughing with him. They were siding against him, his jaw tightened. He turned back toward Maya, searching for a comeback, something to claw back his power. But all he found was her steady gaze. A gaze that didn't bend, didn't break. And then Maya did the most unexpected thing of all. She didn't push him. She didn't insult him. She didn't even look at him again. She simply walked past him, her head held high, her dignity untouched. That quiet act of defiance struck harder than any punch. The hallway was silent as Maya walked away, her books pressed to her chest, her steps steady and deliberate. No tears, no anger, just quiet strength. For years, Derek Mason had built his throne on fear, mocking the weak, silencing voices, and feeding on the laughter of the crowd. But in less than 5 minutes, that throne crumbled. Not with fists, not with revenge, but with dignity. Students who had once cheered for Derek now turned their phones toward Maya. They weren't recording a victim anymore. They were recording a leader. Someone whispered, almost in awe. She didn't even flinch. By the time Maya reached the end of the hallway, her name was already echoing in conversations. Posts hit social media within seconds. The quiet girl just destroyed Derek without even touching him. Clips spread like wildfire, replayed, remixed, captioned with words like strength, power, and respect. Derek stood frozen, the weight of humiliation pressing harder with every passing second. For the first time, his smirk was gone. His face, once a symbol of arrogance, was now etched with the realization that he was no longer feared. A teacher eventually stepped into the hallway, alerted by the noise. But by then, the damage was done. The entire school had witnessed the shift. The bully who shouted had been silenced. The girl who was mocked had risen higher without raising her voice. And here's the truth that stunned everyone. Maya didn't just win against Derek. She won against every whisper, every insult, every attempt to break her spirit. She showed them that real power isn't about volume, it's about composure. Weeks later, people still talked about it. Some called it the slap heard around the school. Others called it the day Derek lost his crown. But to Maya, it was just another day she chose strength over hate, and that choice, quiet, firm and unshakable, changed everything.